That was animals. Hello.
That was on cue.
Muses coming live to you today. And this afternoon, as you can maybe already tell, we're going to be discussing animal communication. As we hit the button here, I've got some wild animals in the background. They're not actually wild. They are my own, but we refer to them as wild. And they're apparently getting in on the action today. So animal communication and all that it is, these beings on the planet have so much to tell us, so much to share with us, so much wisdom and guidance for us in so many different ways, through so many different layers. And I'm super excited to jump into this conversation today. As we start, you can see I've got one here with me in my lap. She's already got the memo that today is Bring Your Pet to Work Day.
I love it.
And the cats in the background, I might have to go separate them. So I am going to go ahead and pass this off to raise your hand. Which one of you is most eager to jump into this conversation this morning and share a bit about animal communication? I would love to hear any stories that you may have. Katie, if you can share a story about animal communication in a way that it's touched you profoundly, I would love to start off with that.
Well, it's funny that we're talking about animals today because I just had this really cool experience that was very near and dear to my heart. So this perfect opportunity to share some magic with you guys because anybody that's been watching knows, I'm so focused on, communicating with other dimensions and planes because I lost my beloved son. He is on the other side of the veil or whatever, you want to think of it as. I like to think he just slipped into the next room. But when he was a baby, I don't know if anybody watching is familiar with, there's a very famous book. They give it out at the hospital. In fact, it's called Goodnight Moon. And the sister book is called Runaway Bunny. And my son had ADD, ADHD, he's very hyper. And our entire relationship was always about me running after him, trying to catch him before he ran in front of a car. You know what I mean? He was just full of life. And so this book that I used to read to him every night, and we loved reading it. It was about this mom bunny and this baby bunny. And the little baby boy bunny was like, you know what? I'm just going to run away. I'm just going to become like a sailboat and I'm just going to sail away from you. And the mom would be like, well, that's fine. I will become the wind and I will blow the sails where I want you to go, And then he's like, fine, I'm going to go and I'm going to join a circus and be a trapeze artist. And she'd be like, well, then I will become the net and I will catch you when you fall. And so at the end, he gets so frustrated. He's like, shucks, I might as well just stay here and be your little bunny, and it's just the cutest little book. And she's like, oh, perfect. Here's a carrot. So I had to sell my son's car. It was, very emotional experience. It took me like a year and a half. And so I had to go out. We'd sold the car. They were coming to pick it up. And I had to go out and wash the car, right? One last time. And so you can imagine, it was just this like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. All these memories are flooding through. And we have bunnies, here and there in our neighborhood, but I've never seen more than one at a time, right? And so I'm washing the car and all of a sudden, I kid you not, this little mom bunny comes chasing this little baby bunny, like right in front of the car. And I'm like, am I seeing this? I thought maybe just because I was so emotional, like I was having like just a weird, vision. And I watch and they stop and the baby bunny looks at her and he runs around like right in front of me, like runs around because I was at the back of the car and hides on the other side. And I'm like, no. And the mom bunny, I'm like, what's she going to do? And just like the book, she just sits there. She's not worried. He knows exactly where the bunny went, even though the little guy's over there like thinking, he's hiding out. And then, she waits a second and then she just moseys over and she goes, I see you. And then he's like, fine. And he runs back to her and then they like just take off. But I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It was like just the perfect, most magical way for God and the universe and my son to just be like, it's okay, mom, like it's okay. And nobody would have gotten that little interaction but me, like if anybody else would have been standing there watching, they would have just thought, oh, random. But when you're aware and you're awake and you're open to receiving these magical little messages, they're just everywhere. So that's my story.
I love it. That was beautiful.
Runaway Bunny.
I love that book, by the way.
You know the book?
What you're talking about, yes.
I've never read that book.
Oh, it's a beautiful book. Oh gosh, the aliens are back.
The aliens. I know. I think it's my phone.
Well, they went away. Or she just muted.
Yeah, she gets alien.
And I want to show you. I want to show you what's happening next to me right now.
Oh, babies.
So
that's unusual.
Best friends.
Oh my God. The cat's on top of the dog.
They are best friends. He's
That is
making
the coolest
biscuits in
thing
the
ever.
back. I don't know how this has happened, but it's the funniest thing, and that we're talking about animal communication, and we have this new being in our home also. Watching the cats, because we do have an older adult cat, older than the baby. He's not super old, but bigger and more persnickety, and not every animal is different. Durbin, who is the older of the two, is a little bit more stoic and self-centered. He really has his mission, and what he's set out to do each day is very important to him. And for anyone to get in the way of that is like, he just doesn't have time for it. This one, Luna and Blue, as we've been calling this kitten, have immediately just become the best of friends. Like they've known each other their entire soul journeys or something. And Luna will get in front of Blue to keep Durbin from messing with him and protect him.
Wow.
It is so funny to watch. Yes. And the way that, I mean, I know we're talking animal communication, and really like the way that they communicate with us, I find so intriguing, but interspecies communication, like between the animals, from the cat to the dog and the dog to the cat, and the way that they're family, like they,
How is that different?
they have claimed each other as family. And Callie discovered yesterday that Luna is lactating.
I wondered.
She had her like petting her. I think it was just yesterday afternoon, and she was rubbing her belly, and she noticed that her teats were looking a little like full, and she's like, "Mom, this is weird." We know for certain she's not pregnant, but she squeezed it and then like went, ugh, because it shot out milk, like milk shot. And I'm like, she is lactating for the baby kitten. What on earth? It's the coolest thing to watch them, and the relationships that they're forming, and the way that they don't, I mean, it's not like they're talking to each other, but they're communicating. I'm at the counter just yesterday, and Durbin, the older cat, is like this. He's like reaching his arm up, and it's just in the air, like he's about ready to whack somebody with it. And he's right in front of the little kitten's head. He's just holding his hand above his head and looking at the dog, and the dog steps right in front of the cat like a shield, like a barrier, and Durbin turns around and walks off. Luna's like, "No, you don't. You're not going to hit him. He's little."
Not the baby.
It's so funny to watch.
Oh, I love it. It's so precious.
He's
the
so
way that
cute.
they take care of each other and communicate with each other, and what it communicates to us about. Can you hear it?
No. So what is the story behind this kitty? Where did he come from?
So, well, Callie rescued this cat from a home somewhere, I want to say in, I don't know, like an hour from here. Someone who she knew somebody. And this person had like, or has, I will say, like 74 cats. And this little baby just wasn't being taken care of. There were quite a few cats that weren't being taken care of. And Callie got her hands on this little guy and brought him home.
Oh.
Holy cow, that's a lot of cats.
Yeah, and they were all in the same house and still are, and it just breaks my heart.
I'm glad she
Yeah.
found you, or he found you.
The sweetest little
He won the
thing.
lotto with you guys.
No doubt. And so did Luna, because she loves anybody to rub her belly. Never mind a baby kitten who will just make biscuits on her belly all day long.
Making biscuits.
the baby kitten will come up, and Luna will like do her thing where she exposes her belly. She opens her dog legs to expose her belly, and the kitten will just make biscuits on her belly.
Oh God, I bet they have the cutest. Like, who needs TV when you've got that?
Yeah, no kidding. I've never heard.
That is no joke. That
I've
is
never
no
heard
joke.
that
And
called making biscuits.
Yeah, that's what my husband says too, making biscuits. I was like, what the?
he'll
Is this
make
how you make
biscuits
biscuits?
in the air.
Seems
Do
like
it
a
in
very
the air.
ineffective way.
Steph, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
He
What's
just looks like he is just pure magic. I'm in love. I love cats.
He's adorable. What's not to love with cats?
It's so true. And this has been such a reminder for me, watching species that are stigmatized to dislike each other, right? You think cats and dogs fight. We even have that saying, that cliche, like fighting like cats and dogs. And to see them together and the way that they love each other is such a reminder of that removal of separation between all beings, and that it's really just something we're creating and perpetuating, because they don't have the filter for that. Luna, the first day that she met this little peanut, had no growl, had no nothing, no negative anything, and just immediately started to lick him in the head.
Oh.
She immediately resorted to licking him. It's like, where do we get that? Where do we get the fighting like cats and dogs? It's such a reminder that those programs are programs that are passed down from us, and some of them, are found in the wild, and it's like a prey predator thing, and some of it is innate. But when we're together in community and you know who your pack is, it all goes away. It's not there.
That's the whole key, knowing who your pack is. I love the way that you said, knowing who your family is, right? Is what or your tribe, your pack, your family, whatever you want to call it. I've also always been fascinated by whenever there's a natural disaster and the rescue teams go in and they'll take photos of who they've rescued along the way. And somebody will take a photograph in the back seat of somebody's car as a raccoon, a fox, a cat, and a dog. And they're all just like sitting very nicely together. And it's because they know, I mean, they just like we would all be extra, I don't know, extra patient, extra flexible in a circumstance where we needed help as well. Like to think that other beings, to think that we're the only animal beings on the planet that understand that is just kind of funky.
So, Kat, I bet you have a couple amazing animal communication stories to share.
I have so many. I don't know where to start. This is why I don't know anything. To be honest with you, I really don't know where to. I don't.
Just pull one out of your bag.
The one that keeps popping into my head is not the, I don't know. This is the one that's present, and so this is the one that I'll share. But I don't know exactly why I'm sharing this one just yet. What I was gonna say, and this kind of goes in line with that. What I was gonna say is, and I guess that's why. Sorry, I'm having two conversations at once.
A day in the life of Kat Vendor.
Let's try to collect that and create something that makes sense. So one of my favorite things about communication with the rest of the realm is that, this sounds so selfish, but it's true. I love what I get out of it. I love the lessons that come into my space that are literally life-changing and view altering in that space. And one that I'm so grateful for. So last April, so from April of 2020 to March of 2021. Oh, gorgeous.
Sorry, he was just crying to join. Isn't it funny how all the animals are coming around? But go ahead.
He's a big serious boy.
He's Lucky. His name's Lucky.
I don't know what I was saying. I'm sorry.
You were saying it was like May.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. From April of 2020 to March of 2021, we had 3 dogs, a bird, and a cat crossover. Everybody cleared out. That started in April, beginning of April. 1 week before it started, I had somebody contact me who had an urgent need to talk with her cat. And so I made myself available immediately because of what was going on. Her cat had had a stroke and was pretty significantly impacted by the stroke. And vet had told her that the cat was not going to be getting better, and that in fact there was a high likelihood that they were going to continue, and it was just going to get worse, like there was going to be a series because of all of the things that were going on. And she was so in love. They were so in love, and she was so concerned about his experience and wanted him to understand what was going on and wanted to make the right decision. I'm frequently involved in helping people through winding down of life on this side of the veil kind of decisions. And she wanted to have a conversation with him in that vein. And so we did. And it was the first time that I had a conversation with somebody who had just had a stroke. And it was interesting because there was some confusion about what was going on. And I will tell you, that isn't real common. They, in my experience, typically know exactly what's going on, even things we don't understand. They have a level of connection and understanding that I think most of us would view as uncommon in the human world, in the human experience, I should say. And there was some confusion, and the ability on his part to just dig into that conversation, to show up 100% and participate in the conversation about what was going on with him and where he, was potentially headed, where his mom was concerned, what she had been told, and the decision that she wanted to make for him and why. Can you imagine if you had a stroke, your family members coming in and having that kind of conversation with you and saying, we want to help you cross over now. It takes something to participate in that conversation. And I wouldn't say it was a hard conversation. It's not any it just takes something. That's a different statement, right? It takes a different kind of grounding, gravity presence, and openness. And I'm so impressed in every interaction that I have. Not to say that if I wasn't having these sorts of interactions with humans on a regular basis, human animals on a regular basis, I wouldn't be impressed also. I'm not often involved in end-of-life discussions with human animals, right? And I'm sure that people that are probably endlessly impressed by the things that they experience as well. But the way in which he showed up was something that I will never forget. And the gifts that they were willing to give each other in that space, and how they showed up for each other in that space, was absolutely an honor and a privilege to be a part of. And the biggest gift that I received from that day was just over 24 hours later, I was to find myself in the exact same position. Wow. Where live time in the moment, I was going to need to have a conversation with my dog at the vet about something that had just happened. And he had cancer in multiple places in his body. It was on his spleen. His spleen had already started to, I don't know what to say. It hadn't ruptured yet, but it sort of had started to rupture. And that's a very painful and I don't know what word to use. Very painful and difficult way to go. Sorry, we've got flash flood warnings over here. Let me turn that off.
Are you guys having a monsoon?
Oh gosh, yeah, it's been raining for days, and it's going to rain the end of next week too. We actually are getting a monsoon, thank God, this year. Had I not had that conversation, just beforehand, with somebody who was still very present, and explaining, this is what's happening, the entire situation would have looked very different for me. It was nice to have that conversation in close proximity, time-wise, to the one that I needed to have with my dog, so that it was still so fresh. And it's easier. This is just, I think, a human thing. Or it's not, I was going to say it's easier for me to communicate with other people's animals than it is my own. That's not true. The actual statement is my head doesn't get involved in what comes through. It comes through just as easily, but my head doesn't get involved when it's out here versus when it's in here, right? And so that takes something extra. And so to be able to have that experience in such close proximity allowed me to dig into the energy of that and do a better job of staying out of my own head in a situation that was challenging. And so I guess that's my contribution to the conversation about my experiences, is the way in which both the universe and God, the universe, supports us, but also the way that these beings, who are souls just like we are, it doesn't matter whether you're an ant or an amoeba or a human or an elephant or a blue whale, we're all souls with just different packaging on the outside. That's all it is. We all serve tremendous purpose. Our lives are all just as valuable, and our lives all matter to us as much as for the sheer fact that every one of us, like my life matters to me, your lives matter to you, their lives, everybody's life matters to them, that the journey be what they designed it to be. And I love the extra depth and clarity and support the magic that the whole rest of the natural world brings in when we show up in awareness and allow it.
So, Kat, on that note, since this is kind of your area of specialty, what do you have any advice for people out there that are wanting to increase their communication with animals or draw on animal wisdom?
Yeah. I'm sure we all have some, right?
Yeah.
I'll start. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I think that connection with the whole rest of the natural world, whether you're talking about human animals or plant life or water, air, all of it, it's all the same. It comes from your heart space, not your head space. Being in a state of peace, bliss, that kind of state is much more conducive. Accessing through your imagination and play is, I think, a great way to go. Okay, let me restate. Through your imagination is a necessity. Our imagination is the tool that we use to access everything, right? But in a state of play, we all have a tendency to let go in a different way. And if you're specifically looking for non-human animal communication, ask. I would say ask, because they are patient with us. If you're uncertain, ask for clarification. I would not engage in a bunch of doubt. I would make a commitment to yourself before you start that whatever flows, whatever pops up, you're going to go with. Because it's frustrating. I think the experience can be frustrating. Like if I was having a conversation with you and I was like, hey guys, how are you today? And you're like, oh, I think she said, how are you? I'm not sure. I'm going to ask her again. And could you repeat that? How are you? Oh my God, I think I heard it again. Do it one more time. You know, like that kind of thing over and over and over again. Or like, I just don't know. I mean, I think I heard something, but I don't know. Yeah, that's not really a conversation. So what I would encourage people to do is just try, just put it out there, just go with it, not try, go with it, just go with it. And it's in that practice because it's like when we started speaking English, right? We didn't make full sentences right away. We didn't always understand all the words that we got back right away. We didn't always know what to say right away, but we engaged in the process, and in so doing became familiar with all of the details and developed a comfort level and an expertise. And this kind of communication is no different. We all come here with the ability to do this. It gets socialized and verbalized kind of into the background. And we all still do it. We all do it with babies. We all do it with our own non-human animals, family members, you know. It's no different with anybody else. And the other thing I would say is manage your energy. This is kind of funny. I'm sorry, and I'll shut up super quick. This is kind of funny. I had an experience where I was able to walk with wolves on a setup thing, not just like out in the woods or whatever. It was so, they wanted nothing to do with me. And I was like, what the heck, you know? And it took me the better part of the day to learn what they were trying to teach me because I was too excited. I showed up and was just like, in my energy. Like, I mean, it'd be if like I just met you 3 seconds ago and I was hugging you and kissing you and hanging all over you. And I didn't do that, obviously. And, you know, but my energy was the equivalent of that. And they're like, okay, get away from us, weirdo. You know? An appropriate response, you know? So I would say, I think a lot of us human animals have a tendency to look at the non-human ones and go, "Oh my God, you're so cute," you know, whatever. I do that, and I would say, if you want to have a really meaningful conversation, approach with respect. Approach the ask for the conversation with respect, and the same kind of energy, balanced energy with boundaries that you would with anybody else that you don't know.
Hey, you got to tell me a little bit more about this walking with wolves. What was like? What happened?
So there's a wolf week in Sedona once a year, where they bring in wolves and wolf dogs. It's all about rescue and building awareness. And they have seminars and all kinds of things so you can learn. And then there is a walk where you get to go on this long hike with wolves. And there are wolves. And what was so interesting is the lead wolf was behind everybody for the entire hike. If somebody stopped, that it was a she, if somebody stopped, she stopped. And that was that. If they had kept going for 3 hours and somebody had stopped for 3 hours, she'd have stayed for 3 hours or for 12 hours or whatever. The rest of them would have eventually stopped. But she was not going, no one was being left behind. She was not going anywhere until everybody was ready. You know, it was a lovely, lovely experience. And they smell. I've had on more than one occasion the opportunity to stick my face in a coyote's fur, and they smell lovely. And the wolves did too. They smell like roasted nuts.
Oh, wow. Never would have thought that.
So 2 things. First, you need to look up the next wolf run because we're all coming to you to do it. I think that sounds amazing. And second, I remember you talking about, or you mentioned that when we went on our hike, the 4 of us, when we hiked that mountain, you had mentioned that to me. You said you keep staying behind the group. And you told me the whole thing about how wolves, they always have the leader stay behind to make sure nobody gets left. And I honestly would have thought it would be the opposite, that the leader's the one ahead, you know, forging the path. But it makes sense. It's the protector, you know, at the end to make sure nobody gets attacked or left.
Well, and I think depending on the circumstance, sometimes the leader is here or here or here, or just like with us it would be, right?
Fascinating. Yes, 100% want to do that. So you need to. That could be the next girls' getaway that we were talking about. We don't even need to talk to each other. We could just talk to wolves.
Unless it's too far away.
Sedona is doable.
No, I mean time-wise. Then there'll be another one in the middle.
Yes.
They must be somewhat domesticated as far as being used to being around humans to not attack.
So these are animals who these wolf and wolf hybrid beings that I'm referencing are, there's this whole culture of humans who want to live with animals who aren't meant for domestic house, family, human community life. A lot of people would call that wild animals. I hate that phrase. It doesn't always go very well. And they end up suffering. They end up with nowhere to go. They end up, if somebody finds out that you have one, it will be removed and euthanized if you can't real quickly find a place for that person. I call them people, whatever. This is going to get confusing. For that being to go. And so there are rescues around the country, and this is one of them. So these are beings who have spent time with humans, and they all have different comfort levels. Some of them don't want to interact with people. Some of them are very undomesticated, and some of them are not.
I saw something similar in Tampa. They had a big cat rescue. It was these beautiful cats, exotic cats is what they called them, that people had adopted only to realize you cannot have a tiger in your home. Things will go awry, and then they want to give them up. So this organization has adopted them and gives them, the best life that they can. It's amazing when you examine the hubris of humans to say that they can own non-human animals. And you've actually helped me shift this mindset as well. They're not just here to be pets or pretty or even messengers. They have their own divine paths, their own soul lessons to learn that we are a part of, just as they are a part of ours. No better, no worse, no bigger, no stronger, equal. And we need to start honoring that. Humans need to get better at honoring their role in this world as souls, because I think they do a great job of honoring us, or just leaving us the hell alone when we get all crazy. But the love that they give to us, the consideration, needs to be reciprocal. So I love that there are organizations out there like that are able to rehome these divine beings.
Yeah, me too.
I knew a couple of people that owned wolves or hybrid, and it was a trip. One, the animals really couldn't be around anybody but the owners. They literally just burrowed, in the backyard, how they burrow their little place to live. But the other one, yeah, he would try to, walk them and stuff. And every now and then the wolf would go and grab a goose or something. Like you said, it's like, when you're taking an animal and trying to put them into a suburban neighborhood, it comes with its own set of dynamics, if you will. But yeah, amazing creatures. My daughter got a call, or she's in college, and just last week they had a call that there was a bear on campus, and this little baby black bear has nowhere to go, poor thing. And we get this probably once a year in our area in Seattle, and it's these the young males, they're territorial, so they get pushed out of their territory. And then, I don't know how in the world they end up in the middle of suburbia, USA, but it's so sad, and you see it happening more and more as people are moving further and further and further out into the woods, and then wondering why they've got bear problems, and then going out and trying to shoot the bears, or, it's just trying to learn to all live together as, we expand as a human race, and we start tearing down more and more trees and disrupting more and more wildlife area.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. Still seeing it happen.
I say, when I moved out into the woods from the city, maybe about 6 years ago, and we have wild turkey, we have black bears, we have deer, we have coyotes, we have wolves, we have everything. And they have a personality. They have a life. They have patterns and interactions with each other that I had never considered as a city girl. They have their world. This is their world too. So I 100% agree with you. When you get to see them just being themselves, they are so massive energy, personality, power. And it feels like an honor just to get to watch them from I'll sit there in the window and just kind of peek at them. I'm like, oh, turkey. And we go run over and we peek out. We're like a bunch of kids, but it's an honor to be a part of their world, and you can feel it. And it's beautiful. It flows in a way that I don't feel when I'm around human animals.
Yeah. Have you had any cool communication experiences?
I'd say my biggest experiences with animals has traditionally been as messengers and guides. I see insects and birds speak to me a lot. They appear and they're just naggy enough to get my attention, right? They're right here in my ear, just buzz, 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 or they'll land on me and I cannot help but pay attention. And those usually bring to mind, sometimes it's just a feeling. If nothing else, it reminds me to connect to spirit, because it reminds me that the world is bigger than whatever the heck is going through my mind right there. So that has been my biggest experiences. Since meeting Kat, that has definitely grown. It's something I've paid attention to more on every level, the big and the small. And we've adapted a Kat since then. And she appears as everything that you need her to be, whether you like that or not. And it's allowing me to open that communication a lot more. It's ever evolving. It is ever evolving.
I swear my cat does Reiki on me. I think we talked about that last week.
Yeah, Chris just said the same thing.
Yeah, my cat's constantly working on my husband. He complains, why is she always sitting on me? Why is she always sitting in between my legs? She's working. Give her a break.
Just let her work.
She's tired too.
Steph, what about you?
What about me?
What about a significant animal experience of any sort, whatever resonates?
Well, as Katie was talking, and I think Chris also both touched on like the idea that, we're encroaching on their land, their space, their place of dwelling. It's this earth is where the animals live, right? And so when we get into their spaces, we end up living with them. And it brought up this really funny, well, I don't know how many people will think it's funny. I thought it was fantastic. This event that happened at Casa Christensen in Mexico at the healing residency that I was hosting. We were there for several weeks. And of course, being right next to the sea and having all of this wildlife. I mean, this is a place that there's not air conditioning. It is very much the same environment inside as outside. There are plants inside, like dirt and plants in the villa. This ecosystem inside the villa that exists where we were finding all kinds of things. We were finding chameleons and lizards and geckos and scorpion and crabs that would come in from the seashore. They'd just be like, oh, you're lost. You need some help back to where you're supposed to be. They really were very much in our area and just taking up the same space that we were. You'd be sitting on the front porch having your morning bowl of fruit or whatever, and here comes an iguana just to sit next to you and just watch the waves with you and just be with you. Here goes a capybara. It's like all of these things just coming around, and you could tell that there was, even in the animal kingdom, in this particular space on the planet, you could tell that there was, I don't want to say like they weren't domesticated by any stretch of the imagination. They were very much wild little beings. You could tell, I could tell, I'll speak for myself, I could tell that there was an energy about them that was familiar with humans, did have something to say and something to share. And also, as I'm saying this out loud, it's like they have an awareness of the beings who will come to this place and be in this place with them and cohabitate freely with them. They very much had a sense of that. And this was and still is a high vibrational container that was built there seaside with all of these human animals who were very accepting of the life that was with us inside this villa. I had this beautiful soul, Erin, who came in to share her sound healing and some other things. And she was in the shower one night. I'm telling her business now. Thanks, Erin, for giving me this amazing story. She was in the shower one night and very calmly yells, "Hey guys, hey, maybe somebody wants to come check this out." And so here I go into the bathroom. "Hey, what's up?" She's like, "Well, nothing too much is going on. He doesn't really want anything to do with me. I know that." And as she's saying he and personifying the other end of this conversation, I'm realizing there's another being in the bathroom, and I'm looking to figure out what it is. And I immediately looked to her feet and to the corner of the shower. And here's this scorpion with his tail curled up. And he's just hanging out in the corner of the shower. He was not worried about her. She was not scared of him. None of us were scared of him. At this point, it was the second bathroom scorpion encounter. So we kind of had that under our belts already. And it was really not that big of a deal. The first one was a little different because it was my bathroom and it was my experience. And, you know, I did some pictures and looked some things up online to see if scorpions jump, and found out that in fact, if you get them, they will chase you. And what is the metaphysical meaning of a scorpion? Like, I'm going through Google and figuring out all the information that I need to have this encounter. So this was maybe another 3 or 4 days later when we believe it may have even been the same scorpion. We don't know. But yeah, everyone was very compassionate and interested and open to whatever this message is that's being brought to us. And it was this, man, it was a moment of community in the bathroom. Bless Aaron's heart, being in the shower for the whole thing, you know? It's like we were having a moment as a group going, okay, well, has he given you any messages? Is he coming with any kind of a message for you? Like, is there anything that you need to let the rest of us know? You've spent more time with him than anyone, you know? Really, it just came down to thanking us for being there, truly thanking us for being in the space and for being patient. And it was like he was an ambassador for all of the other beings. The one that would seem the scariest, right? Brought together the most people in the most confined space to interact with him, which was just astounding to me. And to look around and to see that all of these there wasn't a single being in the villa who was freaking out or scared or, oh my God, what are we going to do? There was none of that. And it was like, okay, how can we best facilitate his exit from the shower to a place that will be more comfortable for him and perhaps for us? He didn't really want to be in the shower with her. That's not really what he had up his sleeve. He didn't really plan on that. And it was peaceful, and it was us communing with this beautiful little scorpion friend and setting him free on a new adventure outside.
So, you know, that's the second trip you've had with a scorpion involved.
I was thinking the same thing.
You know, in Shasta that morning, I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the airport, and right outside the bathroom is a scorpion just sitting there. And I've been walking back and forth for 40 minutes.
Kind of big one.
It was big. He was big. And I put him in a cup and I moved him outside and sent y'all a picture, be like, heads up, there's scorpions on the ground. Or when you wake up, right, like 6 inches outside of our bedroom, between our bedroom and the bathroom. And I did the same thing. The first thing I did was Google. I was like, oh shit, what does a scorpion mean? And I can't remember what it was. Do you remember what it was?
There was all kinds of spiritual meaning behind the scorpion. And it was, if I'm remembering correctly, there was this story. We'll have to look it up, maybe post something about it in the group. But there was this story attached to the metaphysical meaning of the scorpion, and something to do with the way that it carries the baby, something to do with the mother-baby relationship. And then what happens after the babies are born, and maybe the babies eat her. I can't remember.
If anybody watching knows what scorpion means,
there was some deep
transformation.
It might be a transformation.
When I looked it up, yeah.
Transformation? Is that what you said? I couldn't hear you.
I think it has to do with transformation of some sort, which makes total sense. Steph, you guys were all there to metamorphose, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting when you were talking about, you know, why is he there, and why was he showing up, and why was he still there, and whatever. I got very clearly that he was like grounding the space, holding the space, creating the space for what was happening to happen. So that's interesting that's transformation. That fits.
Yeah.
Huh. Both places, big vortex energy in both places too.
Wait, say that again, Chris.
both places, Mount Shasta and down in Tulum, have big vortex energy. So to have that grounding, that really high level grounding energy, and an area that's so ethereal is amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. Katie, you had asked to pull a card earlier, and this is what I pulled. And I didn't know I was going to do this, so I don't have my glasses. So good luck to me here. Seriously, this is ridiculous. Okay. I mean, my inability to read.
The Sun, awesome card.
It's the Sun. Yeah, these are fairy. This is a fairy deck, by the way. Fairy tarot cards, if anybody's interested.
Oh, Doreen Virtue.
Yep. And Radley Valentine. And illustrations by Howard David Johnson, just to give everybody credit. It says, the Sun, plans that work out perfectly, amazing ideas that lead to rewards, I can't read, and commendations, and gratitude for the blessings of life. To me, that just fits perfectly with what we're talking about. To me, it references how everything comes together, how everything and everyone comes together as a whole. Talks about opening your arms and embracing the blessings that flow directly to you from heaven. You can expect the dawning of brilliant new ideas that will lead to wonderful opportunities. Being a beautiful, shining child of God, and I think that's referencing everybody. Unique in the universe, and the world needs you to be exactly who you are. And to me, that's referencing all of everybody who shows up. Everybody is unique and valuable and a child of God, and to be valued just as they are. Everyone's contribution is just as important. And that's just validation to me of everything that we're talking about. I think that's beautiful.
It's so perfect too, because we're just moving into Leo season, which is ruled by the sun and is all about stepping into your individuality. So totally in sync, with the energy that's around us right now. That's beautiful.
And what Melinda was saying about letting go of people and situations that are not good for you, I think would be a phenomenal topic. And Kat and I were talking about this before the show, talking about honoring ourselves in this new earth energy. Because it's becoming really, really clear that the way we've been going, we cannot continue to go it anymore. And I think a lot of us are going through that transition. What do we want to keep in our lives, and what do we have to let go in order to honor who we are? So I would definitely love to talk about that on a future show.
Is that Jonathan and Elise watch? Yep.
Yeah.
They always have birds just kind of, Elise is always telling me, like a bird will just kind of stop and stare at her. And, like they're always having conversations with the winged creatures of the world. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Beetle, not beagle. Oh, okay.
I was wondering how a beagle can buzz, but I wasn't going to say anything. It's like a buzzing beagle. Is that like shaking?
I was envisioning him doing like run-bys. like an excited dog.
Oh my gosh. What a fun conversation. Yeah, I could just go on and on. The bottom line, I think, for all of us is that just open yourself up, and expand your energy awareness, and just open yourself up to the miracles that occur either through communication or through just, the interaction, or the signs, like as the cat's moving behind again.
That's a flying beagle.
That's a flying Durban.
So cute.
But yeah, as we're winding down, does anybody have anything new in your field, just personally or otherwise in your business that you want to share? I have a cool announcement. And actually this weekend, I just am launching myself on Patreon. I don't know how many people are familiar with Patreon, but it's a really cool place out there that supports creative artists. And so
Katie?
Patreon, I
Okay.
I'm launching my channel, Discover Your Design. So you can look me up, Katie Steinley, or Discover Your Design. And I'm doing weekly aura scans, just so you can get in touch with your energy field and align it with biofeedback tones, to the greater energy field. So you can kind of get into the flow. And I've had so many people talk about the need for just getting together in a community space and sharing ideas and, going deeper into self-discovery. So once a month, I'm going to host a celestial event. And, I think of it as like a little, worldwide potluck. We'll all just come and we'll bring our charts and we'll learn about ourselves and we'll share our reflections with other people. And I think it's going to be really cool. So please check me out and join me. How about you? Anybody else?
Chris, did you start to say something?
Yeah, Steph, go ahead, Steph.
Oh, I've got actually a virtual retreat that starts tomorrow. It is called Seaside Vibes. So of course, the understanding that we create our reality with the vibration and frequency that we hold, all of the information that we take in, we code and recode to build the reality around us. And so elevating your vibration is a primary tool for shifting your reality. So this virtual retreat is going to be focused on vibration cultivation and simplicity. And so every day for 5 days, I will be delivering a morning meditation under 10 minutes. So we're keeping it simple, as well as a midday vibe check. That's 2 to 3 minutes, recipes throughout the day. So we're focused on high frequency foods and plant-based foods. And we'll also be going through the chakra system and sharing chakra meditations as well as evening journaling prompts. So sort of bookending the day with vibration cultivation and simple, easy recipes to fuel your cells and your celestial connection. So that starts tomorrow, and it will be open and available for anyone who wants to join through the end of the day. Friday, you can join the retreat all the way up to the last day and have all of those resources and tools to keep in your repertoire. Everything will be delivered in a bundle so that even after the event, you have these resources, you have these recipes, you have everything you need to cultivate your vibe and elevate your vibe. No matter where you're starting at, this is something that will help you. It is the Sean T of the spiritual world. Like you can P90X your way through it. It doesn't matter how big and strong and spiritually tough you are. You can always elevate that. And this is going to be a really simple, fast track way to elevate your vibe, cultivate a higher vibration. It's going
Love
to
Shanti.
I'll post in the group about it.
You have a whole like cat tete-a-tete going on behind you there. They're like battling.
It's like swords fighting.
Real quick, I've just launched the hashtag I Am a Warrior campaign, which is to create and get donations for firefighters, first responders, and military to bring spirituality to those groups specifically so that they can get sponsorships to spiritual programs. The donation page is on my website, ascended-warrior.com. And also anybody out there who feels drawn to that warrior energy, who wants to make a video or a post explaining why warriors need spirituality, please do. Just hashtag I am a warrior and post it out. We need to bring spirituality to that masculine warrior world. And this is the start of that.
I love it. Thank you for the work that you do. That is so needed. So needed.
And I would love videos from all three of you too. I'm coming for you.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Honored always in any way for all of us.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I am a warrior.
Yeah, it's catchy, right? It's fantastic. Who doesn't want to be a warrior?
I have I'm going to be launching again, deep dive into intuition in the fall, and accepting new participants to join the tribe, where we go through a lot of practices, help you to develop practices that will elevate your vibe and support your journey, deepen the journey, but also help you uncover what your unique gifts are. it's not teaching what I do so much as it is providing the tools and the support to recognize, remember, and re-engage in what it is that you came here to do, so that you can, I guess, complete your contract, finish your journey strong, and embrace fully what it is that you're here to do.
And man, Kat, after we get back from Mount Shasta, all of our intuition is going to be like next level.
Yeah, Shasta's going to be fun. Mount Shasta, probably still spaces available. August 6th, I believe, through the Akashic Academy, if anybody's interested. I wish all four of us were going again. That's just
we came together, the four of us, a year ago.
Person, yeah, for the first time in person at Shasta. It will always be super special for that reason too.
Yeah. So we're representing this year. Well, we so appreciate everybody that's tuned in today, and we'll continue to watch on the replay. Just feel free to post I know if you guys dig deep, every single one of you has a really cool animal communication story, and we would love to hear about it. And the more you share, the more we all share, the more it helps us all open up and grow together. So please do. And speaking of share this show out to your friends and your family and anybody you think would benefit from just coming together and, having some laughs, maybe shedding a couple tears, but at the end of it, you walk away feeling invigorated and alive and ready to rock your Sunday. So with that said, tune in next week, same time. Oh, thank you. You made it easy for me. It's posted 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and we will see you then. Have a wonderful week.